Welcome to Noble, a network of owners, business leaders, and entrepreneurs. Here, we focus on the 5 stages of business: launching an idea, establishing a business, hiring employees, creating leaders, and then expanding your impact. We hope you enjoy today's session.
So I'm very pleased to introduce Chris Borja.
All right, well, glad to be here this morning. I would like to start with the journey of where it all began, how we ended up here, and how we evolved into all the tools that we're now offering for people to be able to make these connections. So for myself, for those of you that don't know me, I was very shy, introverted for most of my life, literally most of my life. It was all the way back to childhood. As far as I can remember, I was the kid that wouldn't raise his hand in class because I was worried about other people judging me, very self-conscious. I don't know if any of you can relate to that. You're worried what other people think. I was worried about what if I got the answer wrong? What if people thought I was stupid? What if they made fun of me? And that carried all the way through into my adult life. I was actually the best man. My best friend asked me to be his best man, and I couldn't be excited because I was so worried about speaking and doing what does the best man have to do?
Speech.
Yes, speech. So the whole time it was like, I forget, it was like 18-month engagement, and the whole time I couldn't enjoy it. People congratulate me stuff because I was so worried about giving a speech. So we're at the reception, about 600 people at this reception, and it was time for me to stand up and give a speech, but I never stood up because I was so nervous. I just sat. So his cousin had to stand up and give the best man speech for him. So the reason I share that is because there's some of you out there that are like, I'm not a networker, I'm not a social butterfly, I'm not an extrovert, and think that networking is a challenge, think that networking is not for you. And what I realized through time, so the way I ran into the world of networking is I was growing a direct sales business. And as you know, in direct sales, you're responsible for generating your own business. Basically, you're off 100% commission. There's no salary, there's no cap, there's no ceiling, but there's no floor either. And so it's true entrepreneurship. And so a great place for a shy introvert to go into business. So the challenge was I was doing everything that the company said to do. At least in my opinion, I felt like I was doing everything they told me to do. I was going to meetings, I was talking to all my friends and family, I was doing the 3-foot rule, and I hated all of it because it was so awkward and weird. And after a while, I ran out of people to talk to. I just didn't have anyone to talk to about my business. I'm like, how am I going to grow when I don't have anyone to share this stuff with? And so what I started doing is I started buying leads. So I started going online and buying leads of people that had already generated names and contacts. So now I had an inundation of leads of people to follow up with. And so I had plenty of people now. I thought I'd solved the problem, but it created a new problem. And the problem is like, who do I call out of the hundreds of people that are now I purchased as leads? Do I call the hot, fresh, new ones that just came in, but they're also getting bombarded with other people calling them from ads they've responded to? Do I call the people to get to the 5 to 12 exposures that we've heard about to be able to make a sale? That before people make that purchasing decision, it takes about 5 or 7 to 12 exposures or something like that. So like, do I keep working on those? Does a voicemail count? Does a text message, an email count? I was just trying to rack up to get to the 7 to 12 exposures. And then do I call the old people that I've already talked to in the past and they never bought or did anything? So now I have not enough time. And I couldn't enjoy the promised life of entrepreneurship because they promised a lifestyle, independence, financial freedom, all of the above. And I was seeing none of it. And I couldn't even enjoy dinner with my family because dinner is 5 to 7 or ballpark. But that's also prime calling time. That's when people are starting to get home from work and they're free. So I'm like thinking, oh, I should be calling. And I felt like I was missing out if I wasn't. But then if I was calling them and I wasn't with my family, and so everywhere I went, it was just kind of like I couldn't ever turn off my prospecting outlook. Go to a restaurant and then we have a really friendly server. I'm like, oh, I should give them my business card. They might know a lot of people. And like thinking about my business pickup line, like, do I pull them aside and say, hey, get my card if you need anything, just keep me in mind. Do I give them a big tip? Do I talk to them at the table? Do I just leave my card on the table with it? No, I don't know. There's just all this awkward, weird stuff. So that was me. That was my struggle. So I share that because when I found networking, I was looking for a better way. There's got to be a better way. There's other people that are doing business and I got to figure out, how do we sustain this? This was not sustainable for me. I already been doing it for well over a decade, and it was challenging for me. I mean, there's many times I thought about just going back to work, getting a job, and I knew that wasn't for me long term, but short term, I was like, maybe I need to go get a job. So when I found networking was 2012. It was a speed networking event in Dublin, Ohio, at Jason's Deli in Dublin, Ohio. It was very awkward for me because there's about 60 people there. It's very fast moving. I didn't know what to do. Everyone seemed to know what they're doing except for me. I went with the flow. But one thing that happened at that event is I saw people doing business a different way. I saw people that others would literally come to them at the event and have referrals and leads and people to help, not even to sell, but to help. Like, hey, I ran across this person, here's their situation, can you help them out? Yeah, give me their card, I'll give them a call, I'll help them out. And later that event, same person gets another referral. Like, I think I can do a lot better if people were coming to me instead of me going after people and then they seem to be evasive. Like anything you chase seems to run away, doesn't it? Like a rabbit, it just scrambles once they know you're chasing. So I said, I can't chase because that doesn't work. How do I do this? So networking was the way. I said, okay, how do I learn how to network? I started reading, started watching videos, I started asking everyone that I could about their experience in networking and how do we do this? And through that process, I learned that it's kind of awkward for a lot of people to go out and network. And I thought it was just me, but I realized it wasn't just me. There's a lot of people. And I also realized that our comfort level doesn't determine our success when it comes to networking. So even though I was uncomfortable, something I was good at listening. So what I was good at, I was actually compassionate. I actually cared about people and their journey and what they're going through and what they need. So I had some skills and qualities that I didn't realize was a benefit as a networker. There are other people that are your social butterflies. They're your extroverts and they're the life of the party. They love the social engagement. They love the social atmosphere, but it doesn't make them a great networker. So they might love that environment. They might love talking, but how are they getting people involved? Are they really listening to other people? Are they sharing resources with other people? So I said, if comfort level doesn't determine success in networking, what does? If comfort level, if I'm uncomfortable, it doesn't mean I'm bad. If I'm super comfortable, it doesn't mean I'm great. But there's also qualities that extroverts bring. They can make everyone feel welcome. They can, if they have that mindset, then awareness. So I said, what's the thing that actually helps people become successful through networking? And it came up with the 7 steps, the 7 key elements of the journey through networking. So if you want to take some notes, I'll share those with you real quick. And that's not the whole training, but I want to give you context of what we're going to learn today, which is the relationship builder pipeline. I want to give you context of where this fits in. So you heard some of my journey. All of you have your own journeys. You're starting to network, or you've been networking and maybe not getting the results that you want. So I'm going to share with you the 7 steps. So the first thing is clarity. So the first step is clarity. So step 1, write down clarity. Clarity. You have to know who you are, what you offer, the value that you offer, the problems that you solve, the people you're looking to reach, and also the people who can connect you to the people you want to reach. So oftentimes we've heard about making your avatar, right? Who do you want to connect with? Who's your ideal prospect? Who's your ideal client? But networking takes it one step further, is who are the people that can connect you to that person? So you don't need to meet that person directly. You can meet that person through somebody else. So let's just say that we're single, all of us are single, like hypothetically, all of us are single, and we're looking to find a soulmate, or maybe find a date to start with, right? And we're to find that person that could be our potential soulmate, married, whatever we're looking for. And we're looking for that person, and we're 100% dependent on meeting that person directly. That's a very tough thing to do. So imagine going out into the world and trying to meet people, first of all, and then having a conversation, and then going through the sifting and sorting process of, no, this won't work because this is this, or they were to this, or not enough that, and they're thinking the same thing about us. We're all just sifting and sorting through each other of why we're not qualified to be a potential soulmate, right? So that's all we're doing. We're always disqualifying. And that happens in the business world too. Subconsciously, that happens in the business world. We're thinking about why I don't need to talk to this person. So any realtors online or here? Any realtors? Realtors? Okay, so everyone, okay, let's just go with this example. Everyone knows a realtor, true?
Yes.
Everyone knows a realtor. right? So if a realtor comes to you and says, hey, I'd love to meet with you and tell you a little bit more about what I do, the first thing you're probably thinking, I don't really need to meet and hear about what you do. I think I kind of have an idea of what you do. I'm not really looking to buy or sell a house. I don't really see any purpose. See how that realtor now you have no connection with that realtor has no connection with you. So that realtor is looking for selling or buying a house and talks to hundreds of people. Most are going to say no right now. Most are going to say no right now. There's not even an opportunity for anything to happen. But what if we just create more opening opportunities? So a lot of times in business we hear about you gotta improve your closing skills, your closing ratio. You gotta close deals, which is true. But I think the bigger challenge for most people in business is how to create more opening opportunities. How do we create more opening opportunities where we have a chance to just share what we do, who we are, how we help, the problems that we solve for people? And how do we do that? We create relationships. So that's the clarity is knowing how you solve problems for people. So we're not selling people, we're helping people, no matter what we offer. So that realtor is selling a house or they're helping somebody sell their house. But what they're doing is so much more than that. It could be life-changing as far as what they do in helping that person buy or sell a home, depending on what stage of life they're in. It's life-changing for them. It's significant, but it's not something they can sell. And so many times for us, if we're trying to sell the thing that we offer, it's a tough one. It's tough to sell. And I'm gonna try to sell. I try to sell this hat. You guys want a hat? See how tough it is? It's tough to sell anything. I gotta find somebody. Okay, so why not, instead of selling the stuff that we're offering, or if we're dating, we're the product, right? Why don't we just get a chance to know more people to where they can spread the word of what we do, who we offer, or you need to meet my friend, you two would get along great. It's like, I don't know if you're gonna get married or anything, but you should at least meet. I think you guys will have a great conversation. See how there's at least a shot. There's a chance where instead of sifting and sorting and filtering people, we're now creating more opening opportunities. So step one, clarity. Step two is mindset, which I'm already getting into some of the mindset about what networking is. I'll give you the definition of networking. So you might want to write this down as well. So all our virtual audience might write this down too. Networking is building relationships so that we can share resources and create a win-win situation. So I'll repeat that. Write this down. Networking is building relationships so that we can share resources and create a win-win situation. Now, I think it's important that we understand that definition because everyone might have a different definition of what networking is. For most people, it's not really networking. It's more prospecting than networking. And I never knew the difference because I would come to an event and my goal was to give out my business cards, collect your business cards, attempt to get a sales presentation, which most of you would be resistant to already because you have busy schedules and don't see a need to meet with me to hear my sales pitch. So we're already blown out of the water. There's already nothing that's going to happen there. That was prospecting, right? Going through a bunch of people. Eventually you run out of people to talk to. And you got to find a new room. And then that room's the same thing. You go to a new event and it's the same thing. And people that networking isn't working. Well, that's because most people aren't really networking. They're prospecting. What we're doing is networking, building relationships so we can share resources, create a win-win situation together. And that's what we're going to continue to do through this class. All right. So the second step is mindset of what networking is. Another example I like to share of what networking is or a proper mindset about it is the game of poker. You might have heard me share this before if you've been to one of my presentations. Normally the game of poker, we're playing against each other, right? We get 5 cards. We're playing against other people at our table, right? We got to kind of have a facade that whether it's a bad hand, anybody get dealt a bad hand at life, right? So we all get dealt a bad hand more times than not. We get dealt a bad hand. It's not great to start and we have to pretend it's good. We have to pretend that it's good. So that's, people ask us, how you doing? Fine. Don't hold me cry because it wasn't fun, right? But that's how we are. We put the facade on. But if we don't know that people need help, how can we help them? If everyone says they're fine, it's like, hey, you told me you're fine. I didn't know you needed help. And the same in business. How are we going to help people if we don't know what they need or who they're looking to reach? So in this game of poker, if I ask you to see your cards, what's your name?
Jan.
Jan? Okay, so Jan, let me see your cards. You know, it's like you're gonna not trust me. Like I'm trying to get an advantage by seeing, that's why everyone holds it like this, right? So people, the more I ask people to see their cards, they're gonna want to hide it is their natural tendency. But to get Jan to turn her cards around, I can try to convince her, persuade her like traditional sale. Oh, you should do it. It's a good idea. No, but what if I just turn my cards around? Say, Jan, do you need any of these cards here? Right? What if I'm the one that offers first and I provide value first? And then Jan looks at it and she said, let me have the 2 and the 3. I'm like, you can have it's the lowest cards in the whole deck. I don't know why you need them, but be my guest. Here's your 2 and 3. I don't realize she has a 4, 5, and 6. And now she has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What does she have now?
Straight.
She has a straight, right? So you have straight. It's sequential. So did you improve your hand?
Yes.
It's better, right? She gives up a couple of cards because she doesn't need them. She gives up 2 hearts. She didn't know, she just got rid of them. She didn't need them. She didn't realize I already had 3 hearts. Now I have the flush, right? Because they're all the same. So did I improve my hand? I did, didn't I? So if we stayed with the same hand that we were dealt, we would be left faking it like we're okay when we could have been better. But by exchanging resources, which are those cards, we're now better off. So if all of us are playing in this game of poker, Jan and I are exchanging cards, who do you think is going to win most of the hands at this table?
You too.
Yeah, one of us are going to win almost every time. Eventually, everyone says, "What are you guys doing? Why do you guys keep winning?" And we say, "We're exchanging cards. That's why we keep winning." And they're like, "Well, can I join?" Do we let them in? We let them in. Why do we let them in?
Because we want more people.
More people, right? More people, more resources. So that's networking. As you build more connections, more relationships with people, you have more resources available to you. So now, Jan, we invite 2, 3, 4 more people. Eventually, everyone at our table is playing this new game where our goal is not to have the highest hand. Our goal is now to improve our hand and improve the hands of everyone at the table. We're working together. We're collaborating so that everyone leaves the table better than they had, the hand better than they started with. Now, if you're in a networking group or organization or your own ecosystem of people that you have around you, wouldn't it be enough? Wouldn't it be awesome if all you could do is just be better off than before you started the game with? And then we all help each other. And the more people that are playing, we have higher and higher hands. If we have enough playing, we can get a royal flush every single time. Somebody will. And we're okay with that because we know one time it'll be us, one time it'll be somebody else. We don't care who has the most. There's always going to be somebody that makes more money than you. We don't need to have the most, but wouldn't it be awesome if you just had more than you have now? Right? We're all in. So mindset. So that's second is mindset. Third, you need to have your systems and tools. So this is third step or third key component to successful networking. So the third step is having your systems and tools in place. So right, systems and tools. What does that include? That includes your introduction, your elevator speech, knowing what to say. Your elevator speech is in there. That includes your social media, your Facebook, your LinkedIn. And you're going to see later how we tie all of these things together. So your Facebook and LinkedIn are important. All of your social action, your Instagram, all that stuff. I primarily focus on LinkedIn because that's the professional business site. So LinkedIn, Facebook, that's important because people will spy on you. How do you know that? Because you spy on other people, and you know you do, right? You want to know what somebody's about. You know when you're going to do business with somebody. You spy on them. You look and see what they're about. Well, guess what? If you look at other people, they're going to look at yours too. So for people, whether they're looking for a job or a business partner or a client, people are going to spy on you. What are they going to see? Are they going to see somebody that they would want to do business with? So that all can help you or hurt you. So knowing this, you can structure it so it helps you. You can structure it so it does the heavy lifting for you. So initially in my journey, I wanted to sell people when I first met them because that was the only shot I had. I had to sell them in that 30 to 60 seconds because that was the only shot I had. And they were already not listening because they're thinking about what they're going to say, and they weren't really listening to what I had to say. So it's a tough battle. But now I know I have my website, my LinkedIn, I have all that stuff. If I meet somebody and they don't ask anything about what I do, I'm okay with that. I'll just listen to what they have to say about their business. And my goal would be to just connect with them on LinkedIn, connect with them on Facebook if they're not on LinkedIn. Why do I want to do that? Because when I connect with them, we stay in touch. They didn't learn anything about me the first time we met, perhaps, right? That's the worst case scenario, isn't it? Like you meet somebody, they talk the whole time. They didn't learn anything about you. So by connecting with them online, they're going to go to my LinkedIn. And they're gonna, when I engage with them on LinkedIn, and I'm gonna share this is all part of the things you're learning today. When I engage with them on LinkedIn, they're gonna look at my profile. And when they look at my profile, it's gonna be set up to where it builds trust, credibility, authority, all the things that you need to grow your business for people wanting to do business with you. So they go in there, they'll see 70 plus recommendations. Nobody's gonna read all that. They're gonna read maybe one or two and say, okay, I get it. I think this guy's not gonna con us. It looks like he's been around for a while. Looks like he's trustworthy. No one's gonna read 70 comments. Just like when you go on Amazon and buy something, does anybody look at how many stars that thing has? Like the star rating, like the product rating, right? And if it has more, aren't you more likely to purchase if it has more star ratings and it's a higher star rating than if it has 2, right? So why not utilize all of these things to your advantage? It's how people naturally shop without teaching them. That's what they naturally do. So having your CRM, so still step 3, your tools and systems, which is what we're going to talk about today. So we created the connected toolkit, which is your tools and your systems. So the journey, we went from bringing people together. We say, okay, people need to come together and meet. That's the first thing they need to be able to do is meet. We need to create a spirit of collaboration, which is the connected networking group. So create a spirit of collaboration where people are there to meet one another, which you'll all have a chance to do here today, live and also online. You'll be part of this as well, to where you get to know each other. You get to know each other as people, not just what you do, but actually know the person. Why do you do that? Because then you can find ways to collaborate. You're not selling each other. We're not having to sell each other here today or anywhere you go. So we find a way to collaborate, and then that's how we intentionally grow. So we started by bringing people together with that purpose. After that, realize that, a lot of people, just bringing people together in a room is not effective, as effective as it could be. The reason why is because most people never learned how to network. So think about it. How many networking classes have you taken in your life? I mean, even in school, they made us take a speech class, which I hated. They made us take a speech class, but there was never any networking class. And then we go to our jobs. They never taught us networking at our jobs. So we literally went our entire lives expected to know how to network, one of the most important critical business skills, and we were never taught these things. So we started teaching people. So we created an assessment. We created the networking IQ assessment, so that way people can learn where they're at on these 7 steps that I'm sharing with you, to quickly see where you're at on those skills so you can work on those things and grow. Then I created the book. So the Networking Essentials for Success book, where it has the 7 steps. We actually give that away for free now. So you can actually get a free PDF copy right there on your sheet. There's a QR code. You can take the IQ assessment. You can also get a copy of the book. So we give that to you for free. Why do we do that? Because we're playing a team sport like this poker table. The more people playing this game with us, the better off all of us are. We're playing a team sport. And a team sport is a lot more fun when all the people are understanding it's a team sport and can play their role in the team. We don't need to do all the roles. We just need to do our role. Everyone is skilled and equipped differently to where they can add value to others. So that's the sequence. We started community, then we started training people. Okay, now people know what to do. And okay, they're still not seeing results. What's going on? I said, well, they don't have a system to stay in touch with people. So that's step 3 that we were missing. I was sending people out to find a CRM, to be able to find something that works for them, because I didn't want to be like specific. And there's so many different CRMs out there. That's client relationship or customer relationship management. So that's your organization. For those that are older, you'll understand it's your Rolodex, right? So your digital Rolodex is what it is. And so your digital Rolodex, the younger generation won't understand what the heck is a Rolodex. Just tell me it's a CRM. Okay, so that's like your CRM, Rolodex is the same thing, but it's digital now. So you can keep track of all the people you talk to, all of those things. So the Rolodex used to be either like a spinny thing and cards that you would write little notes on, and you would alphabetize them and maybe pull special ones out for extra follow-up into a different card fold. We can do that all digitally now. So I said, if somebody is genuine about wanting to grow their network and their business, and we can't help them by looking at what they're doing, then we're missing something. So I said, we need to have the systems and tools. So if somebody is not getting results, we can go to something tangible and say, okay, let's look at your process. Okay, here's where the breakdown is. Here's how we fix it. So imagine we're in basketball season right now. Imagine the team coming into timeout. They're losing by 10. They're starting to lose momentum. And the coach says, guys, you got to start making your shots. You got to start making your shots. Come on, stop turning the ball over. Make your shots. Team already knows that. That's like me telling you, you gotta meet more people, you gotta make more sales. You already know that. I'm not helping you by telling you that. What people need the coach for is to say, okay, this is the defense that the other team's running. You run this play, you go around the backside here, you'll be wide open here for a shot, you get a 3-point, you go in for the rebound. Now they have a play. So that's what the coach does, is helps them with a play to run to get out of that funk, to break that momentum of the other team, to be able to take the lead again. And so in business, oftentimes, in sales and networking, we're just told to just keep coming back. Don't give up. It'll get better. It'll get easier. You'll meet the right person eventually. Okay, and that's not enough. So we got to find a way that we can actually point to what we need to solve. That's what we're going to share with you today. So that's the last part of step 3, which is your systems and tools. So now you're going to have the systems and tools after today. Step 4 is getting out and meeting people. So get out and meet people. Where do you meet people? So there's different chamber events. There's different networking organizations. There's different referral groups. There are so many different places that you can network. You can just do a Google search for networking near me, and you'll find all kinds of stuff. Whether you're in a big town, a small town, or a big city, there's going to be something happening. And I don't care if there's only 3 people that show up to that event. You show up to the event and make it 4. Okay, that's a starting point. Don't worry about who else is there. There's 500 people at that event. You're not meeting 500 people anyway. Just go where the people are at. Okay, so just meet them. So now you're out meeting people in different places. Step 5 is building relationships, which is part of what we're going to be talking about today. So tools and some of the relationship building. So people don't understand, how do I build a relationship? What does it take to build a relationship? I understood the concept, but when I was taught this from a sales standpoint, I was taught to compliment people on their shoes. That's a nice tie. I like your tie.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
your hair, right? But the purpose was to get their phone number or email so I could send them stuff to sell them. And it felt weird. I didn't like it. It felt weird. So that was what I was taught, build a relationship. But that was the extent of building the relationship. There's no talk about continuing the relationship, whether they bought my product or not. It was just to be able to get a presentation. I never was taught how to continue building a relationship if they didn't buy my products. Because if you ask me, well, how do I add value to people? I would tell them the service that I offered. That's what I would tell them. That's all I thought I had of value. And sometimes that's all you think is what you have to offer is your value. That's part of your value. But remember how we define networking. Building relationships so you can share resources, create a win-win situation. As you get to know more people, each and every person that you already know today, before you go out and meet anyone new, you already know people. You already have resources. You're at the card table, you already have cards. No matter whether you think they're good or bad, you have cards that could be valuable to somebody else. We all have cards. We all have resources. And that's the power behind networking, is that we're playing a team game and helping each other expand and grow. So building the relationships, understand that there's a strength to relationships. So let's just say that you have a scale of 1 to 10 on relationships. Your 10 is the person that can go to your house, open your fridge, and see what you have to eat or drink. That's a 10, just for reference on the scale. The 10 is the person that if you're moving, your office or your home, you know they're going to be there for you. You almost don't even need to ask them. If they know you're moving, they're going to be there. That's your 10. Very, very few 10s in our lives. We're very fortunate and blessed to be able to have at least one at any point in our lives. Whether we currently have it or not, to at least have 1 10 in our lives, that's already awesome. So that's our relationship scale. Very few 10s. Everyone that we meet, if you haven't met somebody else in here, they're a 1. You barely know them, you see their face, they're on the radar, they're in the room, okay, they're a 1. Okay, so with relationships, now that you know that there's a scale, all we need to do is worry about how do we get from wherever we're at to like 2 or 3 notches more. So today, if somebody's a 1 or online, you have other people on there, you're maybe even a 0, you haven't even seen their face yet, right? So maybe a 0 or 1. How do you get them to a 3, to a 5? How do you get a 5 to a 7 or an 8? How do you continue doing that? And that's what we're going to teach you today, is how to stay in touch, how to do that, whether they buy your product or not. So what that means is that everyone that you encounter, everyone you run across is important. That's another thing I love about networking, is it's not about treating people as numbers or as commodities, it's treating them as humans. because they do have value as humans outside of whatever they offer. As a human, they already have value. They also happen to have resources that could be beneficial to you and others that you meet. So the more people that are in your network, the more resources you have. So if you have more resources, more people want to meet you. Do you see how that works? The more resources you have, the more people want to meet you. And you already have resources. You probably just haven't been utilizing all the resources that you have. But what if you start sharing that and they realize that you're sharing cards with people and you're helping other people win the game? And they just happen to also look out for you and make sure you improve your hands at the same time. So that's step 5, is building the relationships. That's what we're going to focus on today. To complete the 7, just so you don't have, like wondering, what are the other 7 steps? Okay, so we're focusing on relationship today. I wanted to share the context of what we're learning today. Step 6 is building your personal brand and your personal network. Your personal brand, your personal network. This is you. And branding is something that goes beyond you. It's your reputation that precedes you. So that's building your brand. It's not your logo. It's not that. It's not your slogan. It's you. You are the brand. And I would recommend for everyone that brand yourself more than you do your company, your organization, whatever name that is. The reason I say that is because when you build your personal brand, it doesn't matter what product you offer. It doesn't matter what you change your company name to. It doesn't matter what new venture you have. Your audience stays with you. So using the realtor example again, how many of you have seen a realtor post online and they say, hey, I'm with so-and-so company now. And if you're like, congratulations, and you're like, what company you were with before? I don't even know what company you're with, but I knew you're a realtor. Have you seen that? You know they're a realtor. So see, that's the case in point. People, if they just focus on the company, nobody cares about the company. It has to be credible, right? It has to be a good company. It has to be a solid, reputable company. But nobody buys because of the company. They buy because of the person that introduced them, or the person that they know that happens to be in that company. So brand yourself first. So that's step 6. Build your personal brand. That goes back to the timing with it, the in-person networking, the relationship building, your social media presence, all of that is in there. Step 7, this is where you're heading towards. So when I was writing this book, it took me, 5 years from start to finish. The actual writing part, after I got all the clarity and stuff, was about 9 days after procrastinating and all that stuff. But I'll tell you why I never finished it. Because I was writing this book on networking with all stuff I was passionate about, which is what I'm sharing with you, the mindset, what it's really about. And I said, how do I end this book? What is the end goal of all this networking? And I said, yeah, we want to make sales, but that didn't excite me. And I didn't want to write about, okay, now you've built this relationship, here's how you convert it. And I got stuck. I never finished it for like years until it came to me. I said, what is the real purpose that why we network? It's not to, I think we get the sale in the process.
To make friends.
Is to make friends, build those relationships, like true friendship, build relationships. And what that leads to is collaborations and partnerships. Mm-hmm. Now, no matter what you do, you did a nonprofit, I heard earlier. What's the nonprofit?
In His Image, New Life Christian Stables.
Okay, so in his life.
In His Image.
In his image.
New Life.
New Life. Christians, what is it?
Christian Stables.
Christian Stable. Okay, that's long, sorry.
Yeah, it is. I've heard about that quite a few times.
Okay, so for example, for a nonprofit, you want donations?
Mhm.
You want volunteers?
Mhm.
Okay, so look here. So for a nonprofit, looking for volunteers, donations. Nonprofit, same thing, right? You need volunteers, you need donations. Now, let's say somebody gives you $50. It's a nice offering, right? But what do you need tomorrow? Another $50. Probably a lot more than $50, but you need more. And if you're in business, you sell a house. What do you need to do tomorrow? You sell another house. So see, if the sale is the end goal, we get caught up in this endless treadmill, right? It's an endless treadmill of nonstop, doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's literally a treadmill. You can never get off this treadmill. And what kind of life is that? To where we're constantly seeking and searching. So I said, that's not the end goal with networking. The end goal is to create collaborations and partnerships. Partnerships are things that are sustainable. So for example, instead of a $50 donation, what if it's a company connection that you make and they give a recurring donation every month, whether it's 200, 500, 2,000, 10,000. isn't that life-changing when you have that sustainable partnership? And for that realtor example, you know, wouldn't it be, I mean, imagine how hard it is to talk to everyone and find them in that right moment where they built trust, they are looking for buying or selling a house, it's a fast-moving market. If by the time they build trust, they already lost the deal. I mean, it's crazy, right? But what if they built relationships to where they're getting referrals from somebody that works with somebody? What if they're partnered with a mortgage lender that says, hey, I've got somebody qualified, they need somebody to find a house in this area, can you help them because they're qualified for this amount? And as that mortgage lender keeps qualifying people, they keep sending them to their realtor friend. Why do they do that? Because the realtor friend, when they have somebody that needs a deal, they send them to that mortgage friend and says, this person will give you a good deal. They're good at communication. They'll always let you know where you're at. You're not going to feel lost anywhere along the way. So you see how that works. Now instead of each individual sale that you're chasing, you now have ongoing source. So that's your step 7. So again, let's go back to the dating analogy. You all have friends that are single as well. And if they start going out with somebody, don't you know already if they should be going out with them or not? You already know. You're like, yeah, that's not gonna work. Or you're like, ooh, this looks like it's promising. This might be good. Or you see somebody else they don't know, and you're like, oh, they should meet, right? So see how much easier it is to match people up when we know who they are. So imagine that dating situation where we know our friend, we know the people that they would match up well with. We run across people, other of their friends run across people. They only need one. They don't need to find one, right? They don't need dozens. They don't need to find one person. So out of all the people they know, to be able to say, oh, you should meet my friend. You guys will get along great. You have the same values. You guys have the same goals in life. Same, we can do it. So that's what we're doing in the business world. We're just creating that community to where we don't have to find our soulmate by ourselves. We don't have to find the customer by ourselves. We're creating a community so that we can work together and reach that ideal person that we want, that we probably would never have met otherwise. So does that help to give you the whole, that's a long intro, but I think it's more important than just understanding the mechanics, but to understand where it falls and why it's important. So that's the 7 steps. We're going to go over relationship builder pipeline now. Each of you already has your own pipeline. So what we're going to do on the worksheet is get the worksheet for your product or service. And for you online, virtual, you have this too, right?
Yeah, I sent it.
Okay, so virtual, you're going to go to this one. This is the product services pipeline. Okay, and what I want you to write down are the stages or steps that you have. So basically your buyer's journey. So for all of you, the stage 1, just so you know, is going to be identifying the person as a prospect. So stage 1 for all of you is identifying the person as a prospect. So everyone we meet is not a prospect. But once we think, they might use my services. They might donate. They might volunteer. They might need to buy or sell a house at some point. They become a prospect at that point. So just because they exist and we meet them, they're not a prospect yet. But once we identify they may possibly, even in the slightest chance, they might possibly need our services, now they become a prospect. So that's your number 1. So what I want you to do now is to fill out the rest of this. You don't need all 9. The goal here is just to start understanding the process of what you go through and what you've done in the past to get your clients, to get your donors. What's the journey? So for example, using the nonprofit as an example, you might say, oh, they might be interested in donating. So what's the first thing? You might need to set up a call. Maybe setting up a call with them is the first step, or maybe it's sending them a message or having them visit a website or learning about or inviting them to an event or visiting. Is it a farm or is it? So
We have horses,
okay, so do you call it a farm? Is it, what do you call it?
an equine facility.
Okay, so they go to equine facility, right? So maybe that's part of the journey is to see what they're part of, what they get to be part of. Maybe it's introducing them to some of the result. So whatever those steps are that you get to get the result, whether it's a sale, a donation, a volunteer, I want you to take a couple of minutes right now and write down the steps for you to get your sale. Okay, so do that right now. Write down the steps of what you do and think about the process. Slow down, think about each individual process of doing that. Yep, so online, you should have this too. Give me a thumbs up. You guys got this? Good? Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. This is your pipeline for your products and services. What are the stages that you take people through before they become a customer, a client, a donor? Yeah. Want to see what that looks like. Take one more minute to wrap that up. One more minute to wrap that up. So what is your process? What are the steps before somebody becomes a paying client, a donor, hires you for a gig, whatever that looks like? What are the steps? So for those of you that are done or wrapping up, so basically, I want to get some feedback from you. What was it like writing out these steps? Anyone that wants to share online as well, you could raise your hand digitally or something, and I'll call on you. We might want to make sure you're all included with this too. So raise your hand. We'll bring you up on screen and share. So I want to get some feedback. What was it like for you writing down each of these stages or steps?
Fun.
It's fun. Good.
Makes you think a little bit deeper about what the steps do look like than just like striking up a conversation.
Yep, so it makes you think about the actual steps that you're doing, right, to start the conversation. Excellent. So you have to think in a whole different way. How many of you have never really done this before and never slowed down enough to say, what are the steps? I just talk to people and they buy from me or they don't, or, I send them stuff, but you never really identify the steps.
I never have.
I never have.
Yeah, most of us don't. Most of us don't. And that's why we're taking time to do that, because there are steps. And why do we need steps? Because we need to fix things if they're not working and not just keep doing more of it. Right? So like the basketball team, let's just keep going out on the court doing the exact same thing. They're going to lose by 20 points by the next quarter, right? Because they didn't fix anything. So we got what is broken. Okay, well, it's defense. Here's what they're doing. Here's why they're scoring it on every single play. Okay, so by having this sequence, you now know where the breakdown is. And even so, first of all, do you even have prospects? Do you even have prospects? That's the starting point. Now you know I don't have prospects. Okay, no wonder I'm not getting more results. I just don't have enough people to talk to. Okay, so now that you have these stages online, let me get some feedback online. Who wants to share experience for you writing down these steps? Who wants to come up? So I got Michael, Maria, Raquel, Susie, Bridget, Teresa, anybody. Somebody come up and share. Anybody? Feedback? What's it like creating these stages or steps? All right, Teresa, go for it.
Yes. For me, I really had to think about what steps that I would actually take or what I would really need to do. So it just required me to really think more of the steps that I need to add in this process.
Okay, excellent. Who else?
Raquel.
Raquel?
Hi.
Thank you.
I would just add to that part, not even, I think there's things that I do innately. So being able to write it down also just brought more clarity as to the parts that I probably do without thinking about it that are critical to being able to obtain business.
Excellent. So really makes you intentional and focused on it because now you're aware of exactly what you're doing and if you're doing it or not doing it. And yeah, so it affects you to be able, so just that alone, is that already helpful? And say, okay, I think that already helps, just knowing what these steps are. All right, so what we're gonna do next, now that you have that done, we're gonna go into a group activity. So for online, be prepared to turn your camera and microphone on. We're gonna put you in breakout rooms of 3. Can we do that, Susie? So I think there's 6 online. So we'll put you each into a random group of 3. Same thing here in the room. We're gonna put you in groups of 3 or 2 or 3, depending on how many. I think we could probably do groups of 3 and one group of, I think we do all groups of 3. Okay, so group of 3 here, groups of 3 here. Let me explain what we're gonna do next. So in this group, this is your traditional networking type of thing with a little bit of a twist to it. So you're gonna meet each other. You're gonna stand up here in the room and you're gonna move around the room and gather with your group of 3. You're gonna meet with 2 additional people that you haven't met yet. Okay, so if you've already talked to them, don't meet with them. You've already talked to them. Go group up with somebody else that you haven't met yet, so that we're all meeting somebody new. Online will be random, so we'll randomly put all of you in a group of 3. In your group of 3, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna learn each other's names, so you'll each have a chance to share. You share your name with your group. You're also gonna need to share something that is not work-related about you, so a fun fact, something that's not work-related, hobbies, activities, where you grew up, something on your bucket list, someplace you wanna travel, anything interesting that happened to you, something that's kind of unique and interesting, just a fun fact about you, maybe something you don't always share with people or commonly share. You don't need to share like deep, dark secrets or anything, but just something that helps bring out your personality. And the reason I say that is because usually we go to events, it's just like, what's your name? What do you do? What's your name? What do you do? What's your name? What do you do? And we don't pay attention to that stuff. It's boring. It just kind of goes over our head. We make 0 connections. We meet people, we think we're making connections, but we're really not. But as soon as you learn something about them and what their passions are, what they like, you know, maybe they're a football fan or not, or they hate it or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Just share a little piece of you with your small group. So online, you're going to do that. You're going to get to know each other. For this first section, you're not talking any business. Okay, you're not talking any business at all. So you're going to talk about anything else except for what? Business. There you go. So let's go ahead and so we're going to do this for let's do this. Let's see how much time we have. What time do I end?
11:20. You've got almost an hour.
So let's go with 7 minutes. So I'll run the clock for 7 minutes. So online you'll have 7 minutes to get to know each other. Here you'll have 7 minutes to get to know each other. That's about a little bit over 2 minutes per person of sharing. So just kind of regulate that on your own. I say that because when you go out networking, there's no one with a timer that says, okay, make sure you let the other person talk, or make sure regulate that. So if you're the talker, you can check yourself and be aware that, okay, I want to have other people talk as well. And if you're the one that is not the talker like me, where you wouldn't speak up, I invite you to challenge yourself and actually speak up and share. People want to learn and get to know you. So online, so let's go 7 minutes online, then we'll bring you back to this room. Here, go ahead and stand up. Meet your group, share your name, first and last name, and something about you that's not work related. All right, we'll see you online. We'll see you back here in 7 minutes. Enjoy the breakouts.
Good, how are you? I'm Sherry. Oh,
So
That's cool. It's at least
we can have
Is this your first time?
No.
I think the last time.
Okay.
Sit down. Oh, yeah, share that.
That's right. I'll just grab this chair. So it sounds like
Well, they're standing, so.
There's some of them are going, but they're not. Yeah, there's so one room has 3 in it. The other 2 haven't gone yet. Are you guys doing okay finding out how to get in your room?
No, Susan, I'm blanked out of my room for some reason.
What's that, Joseph?
I'm not in my room. It blanked out. I was in it and it bounced me out.
Did it give you let me
Room
see.
one.
Move to room. I don't want him in room 2. I want him in room 1. Where? There, Bridget went in, so
Be able to move to whatever.
he's just not. I don't know how to get him to, he should have a thing on his screen that helps him join it.
It was there. I went into the room and then
I
it put
could,
me
but I
out.
don't want to move someone out of it. See if those 3 are already going.
Right. Where's he at?
He's supposed to be room 1. Joseph Newkirk not joined.
And when you click on his name,
It moves him to room 2.
can't you just put him in there?
I don't know. I assigned him to
Don't
room
clap.
1.
Put him in room 2.
Well, he's assigned to room 1, but he didn't click on whatever it takes to go.
Oh, so it thinks, but it thinks he's in there.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
but
you wouldn't be moving.
no, it says not joined. Joseph, is there something on your end that you can click? You're supposed to be in room 1.
Oh, I did that and for some reason.
Maybe something on your screen that says join.
I was in room
Yeah.
room one with one with the name Michelle.
Option.
And then it bounced me out.
Okay. So how do I do that? Let's see. Unassigned.
Maybe move him to
I'll
room
move him to
2
room
and then move
2.
him back to room.
And then I'll move him to room 1.
See if something pops up for you. There you go.
There he did. Okay. Yes, we did it. So I'm Susie. I have always wanted to go whitewater rafting in Vegas.
Oh, get out
I
of
mean,
here.
it's not fair because I wanted to for 30 years. I gotta beat myself. Yeah. There we go.
Okay. How about you guys just join them since you're already on? Why don't you just be his group? Yeah, you can just be his group.
Joe, can you hear us? Joseph?
How do we use this just so I get the feedback?
You do it from here.
This one?
No, here.
I'm in the meeting. I'll call you back. It did it again. Try it again, Susan, please.
You want me to try and send you again?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Join room 2.
I heard somebody.
Room 1.
There, he went again. I wonder if he's on his phone and it's just hard to wipe and know where to go.
And then mute your.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Okay.
All right, stay in your group, stay right where you're at, stay right where you're at. Welcome back to our virtual group. All right, so time's up. Let me get your attention back up front. So I want to get some feedback. So let's go back and forth. So let's start our online group. What was the experience like for you getting to meet your new group mates or your new best friends, I like to call it? So let me get a couple of you just share what was the experience like for you getting to meet some new best friends out there in your groups?
Bridget's unmuted.
Oh, yeah, I can't see you. I mean, I can see you. I don't know. I can't see myself, but it was lovely. Got to, Mikhail and I talked, and then we kind of shut a gentleman out, Mr. Newkirk. So we couldn't see him, but it was lovely. So nice to meet new people.
Awesome. Excellent. Who else wants to share? Let's see, in person, what was the experience like for you meeting your new best friend or friends?
Like, we were just smiling, we want to run to hug.
They wanna hug you too.
We have a lot of in common, and especially connecting, like somebody in need and then someone who can support. When we find out someone is in need, and then the person who can support this person run to our mind, and then we enjoy connecting.
Awesome.
So that was a beautiful thing that we shared.
Excellent. Love it. And you both have that in common. So you both love making connections, getting to know what people need, and you have needs.
We're both people gatherers.
Excellent. People gatherers. That's all network. Were you able to hear online? Did you hear that? Okay, excellent. Let's go online. Feedback.
Marie.
Share. Who wants to share next?
Marie.
Marie? She looks like she wasn't ready to share.
She's unmuted.
Sorry.
She's ready to go.
Okay, I can share. What we realize, like, we like to travel and we like to cook, and we have wonderful families.
Oh, nice.
Excellent. So travel and cooking in common. Who was your best friend? Who's your new best friend?
And they both are.
Is what?
But who was in your group?
Who's in your group?
Teresa and Raquel.
Okay, awesome. So you have some stuff in common. Okay, and
I'll share.
I met in my group.
Is Sherry.
Sherry, okay.
Yes. We are different in a lot of different things, but we're the same in many other things, as you know, loving our family life, being trying to be a beacon of light in different ways. She loves decoration, she loves craft. I love to look at Pinterest at the decor and the crafts. So I can learn to decorate and do some crafty stuff. So I find that was really interesting, but maybe one day she could teach me.
Awesome. Well, so it's cool too. So I heard that you have a lot of things that are different, but things that are also the same. But isn't that true for everyone we run across? Isn't that what makes it more interesting as we meet people? Like our slogan with our group is that we're all connected, diversity is our strength, and we are better together. And if you look at it, there's so much in society right now that people want to be with, they think they want to be with all the people that think like them, that vote like them, that like the stuff that they do. The reality is we all need each other. We all need, it's just like, I know we have a faith group here, so you understand the concept of the parts of the body, right? So the Bible talks about parts of the body, and they're all important. And we are all parts of the body, right? So we're all important. Everyone is important. How do you know we are? Because you take that away and then you realize how important that was. And they're not all the same function. Everyone does something different. Everyone's skilled and equipped differently, different life experiences. But you found those commonalities, even though there's a lot of things you don't have in common, but that's what makes it more fun and interesting. You can learn things from other people because of that, whether it's just from a skill standpoint, it could be a cultural standpoint, it could be a life experience standpoint, so many things that we can gain and learn from each other, but we need to bring people together. We need to play the team sport is what we're doing here. All right, I heard, who else can share here?
Joseph.
Joseph. All right, Joe.
Yes, hi, thank you. In my group was Mikhail, and who's from Ethiopia and traveled, and she's now in Israel. And then Bridget, who's a hairdresser, both of them in Ohio. I'm from Pittsburgh. And I relate to Mikkel because she's Ethiopian, and there's a rich history of Ethiopian and the Christian church that we shared, or at least I shared, and made that connection. Great. And for her to be in Israel at this time didn't have time to explore that, but it's nice to know. I mean, thank you.
Yep, thank you for sharing that. Something I want to point out is you mentioned not having enough time to explore that, but you notice how just starting it, isn't it easier to continue that dialogue? And like, if I didn't interrupt you, you could do that the rest of the class. You'd be like, oh, Chris didn't come back on? Yeah, it's been like an hour. What happened to him? You guys just keep talking and you'd be fine with it. I share it because a lot of times people worry about networking, like, what do I say? How do I start the conversation? How do I get past the small talk? Well, all of you instantly got past the small talk. You weren't just talking about Buckeyes football or the weather. You were talking about stuff that actually connects you. And I want you to look, so whether you're online here or in person, before you had this chance to meet your new best friend, they're just anonymous. You could be in the same room with them. You're so close, but yet so far type thing, right? You just didn't connect. You missed opportunity. And we have missed opportunities every single day when we don't have the right mindset, when we don't have the awareness. Why do we need the awareness? Because other people don't. And that's a skill. So the good thing about networking is a skill. You can learn a skill. The bad news is most people never learned until now. So that's why we give that book away. That's why we do everything we do. We create the communities. It's free to join the community. The reason why is because we all win by creating these together. So we're not just starting a group, we're not just doing a training, we're creating a movement to where people are actually connecting with each other. We're making the world a better place, one connection at a time, one community at a time. But guess what? In the course of doing that, we're creating a more fertile ground for each and every one of your businesses to grow. Because you're not out chasing prospects anymore, you're building community. And when a community knows who you are, what you do, how you serve others, you're going to have more referrals. You're going to have more resources available to you for yourself and others that need resources, to where, like you're talking about how you love connecting people. The more people you know, and all of you already have people that you know that I don't know. All of you do. Every single one of you knows people I don't know. And same for each other. You all know people that, so you already have resources to share. Everyone has value. So that's what we're doing, is we're bringing this together. And so on that point, so Joseph said, like, want to get into that further. That's the whole point of this, is that at a networking event, you don't have the full conversation. So like the engine that gets going, like in your car, it gets going with a spark, right? You had fuel, you had air, you have a spark. So what you do at a networking event, think of that as the spark. That's the beginning point that gets the machine going. If you don't have a spark, engine never starts, right? So you don't have battery, doesn't cause spark, it never starts. So what you're doing here is a spark. And so many times people come to a networking event, they don't see it as a spark. They think that's the thing. I did the event. I showed up. I attended. And they don't stay in touch and keep that machine going. So what you're doing now is you've built the relationship. You have an actual connection. So I want to ask here in the room, how many of you are actually interested, like curious, interested, like you want to know what your new best friend does for work, right? Okay, online, you can raise your hand. How many of you are genuinely curious what your best friends, now that you got to know a little bit, how many of you are genuinely curious about what they do for work, right? So raise your hand if you want to know what they do for work. So if you look at the dynamics of what normally happens at a networking event, we usually come to a networking event with the intent to pitch our stuff. We practice our elevator pitch to pitch our stuff, win them over in 30 to 60 seconds. Why do they come? To do the same thing. So you see why there's a disconnect. That's why there's not that community built. We're just selling each other. We're trying to pitch each other. You're not listening to them because you're worried about what you want to say. They're not listening to you because they're worried about what they want to say. You can see how hopeless this is. Until we educate, train, create communities of people that are doing things in a better way. It's not the only way to do things, but it's a better way of doing things. So now you're actually curious. You're listening. So you notice that even just the dynamic shift changes it to where when they're sharing what they do, you're not thinking of excuses of why you don't need their services. So remember the realtor example I shared earlier. If I say, hi, my name is Chris, I'm a realtor. I'd like to share a little bit more about how my business works. You're already not interested. right? You're already not interested. So in this way, if you want to learn more, I have a chance as a realtor, hypothetically, to share who I help. I help first-time home buyers, or I help people downsize when they're in retirement here. So you can actually listen without pushing me off and say, "Oh, I already know a bunch of realtors. No, I'm good. I don't need to hear anything." So remember what I shared earlier, and we just have more opening opportunities to share what your nonprofit organization does, what your products and services do, what your coaching services do. You see how we're already winning by just letting more people know what we do and having more people keep us in mind for referrals. This is a huge shift that can instantly happen so that the decision can be made quickly. The results take a little bit of time, but it doesn't have to take a lot of time. And this example, this activity is proof of that. Some people think networking takes too long for it to work. Well, how long did it take for you to build a connection? 7 minutes? Is that too long to have a potentially lifelong friend as a result of today's event? That you will stay in touch online. We're going to help you do that. You're going to stay in touch in here in person, to in touch with your new friend and everyone else in the room. So you'll stay in touch. That's the other thing that's missing, right? So what we're going to do next is actually learn about each other's business. So we're going to give you another 7 minutes, same groups. So I don't know, we can put everyone same group here online, same groups here. So now talk about each other's businesses. You don't have to pitch them, but share what you want to share about. Share what's important, what's coming up for you, what's new for you, what are you excited about? Who are the people you serve and help? Just share it with them. You don't have to sell the person. Just share what you do. And guess what? They may be interested in your services. They may say, I actually need that. I actually want to do that. I actually want to learn more. Or they might keep you in mind. So either way, that when we do this, for those of you that hate rejection, anybody hate rejection? I hate rejection myself. If anyone hates rejection, this is a perfect way to grow your business because you never get rejection. How do you get rejection? When you're just building a relationship with somebody. You're just getting to know them. You're learning about them. You're introducing them to other people. And that's how you get referrals. There's no rejection involved. If you're doing it right, there's no place to get rejected. And so for me, I would avoid situations because I didn't want to get rejected. Some of you are avoiding situations because you don't want to get rejected. So when you take that out, think of how many more conversations you'll start because there's no way you can lose. It's a win-win all the way around. So you're going to take another 7 minutes, get to know each other's businesses, listen so that if we give you a chance to introduce somebody else, you can do that. For this part, don't take down any notes of what they do. Just listen. Okay, so just listen and just be engaged, be present in that situation. Online, same thing. You have the ability to take notes, but don't take notes. Just look at the screen, pay attention, listen. You're going to be surprised at how much you remember by just being present. You will remember more than even by taking notes because you're going to be active and you actually care. This is your new friend that you're actually curious about what they do. All right, so online, we'll go back to 7-minute breakout group. Go back to your stand up, go back to your original groups here and get to know each other's businesses. And then we'll see you guys back here in a little bit. Classroom.
There you go.
Hey guys, welcome back.
I have overheard somebody from across the room that has something in common with me. Before.
All right, welcome back. All right, time's up, time's up. Go ahead and return back to your seats. All right, go ahead, time's up. We're going to return back to your seats so we get started. Welcome back to our online group. Good to see you back again. All right, so we'll start here. All right, time's up, time's up. Back to your seats. Back to your seats.
Back to your seats, please. Sherry.
They're in the zone. They're in the zone.
Of course, it's my wine.
All right, time's up.
Alert.
Time's up. All right. We create too much momentum. It's harder to separate than the virtual. We could just boom, you're back in.
Yeah, exactly. We can control them.
All right. So virtual group. So let me hear from you. Experience. What did you learn about your new best friends, and what was it like learning about the business side after getting to know the person? So I just want some feedback. What was it like getting to know about the business professional side after getting to know them as a person? Who wants to share? Virtual.
I can.
So, okay, Raquel, I'm waiting.
Raquel, then we'll go to Joe.
I was just gonna say, like I had shared, it was definitely less intimidating. I think once we were able to establish commonality and just like genuine interest, I was, more open to listening and versus like having to think about, oh, what am I going to share? How am I going to sound? Thinking about all the things that would make me apprehensive at first. I think it just felt more easygoing, being able to have the conversation after that initial chat.
Yeah, a lot more easygoing. Oh yeah, same thing, right? A lot more easygoing, right? Thank you, Raquel. Joe.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished, you may hang up. Press 1 for more options.
Hi, Raquel. This is Joseph Newkirk.
Oh, wait, you're on. There you go. All right, go for it.
Yeah, my new best friend, Courtney, I found out actually she works at the bank that we use.
Oh, wow.
Small world.
Yeah, small world.
He works at the bank, the actual branch or the same?
The actual branch.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Really small world.
Yeah.
Excellent. And so what else?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
No, I felt like I did too much talking, but Sherry was curious to know a little bit more about me, and basically I shared with her how I ended up at that branch, and I said no to that job 3 different times before I got there. And when I did started working there, I told her it felt like it was my ministry, and saying no and twice before, and the 3rd time my husband said, before you say no again, why don't you pray about it and see what God's want you to do? I'm like, the money's not adding up, and 1 + 1 does not equal 2 over here, because I'm doing the budget, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna live off of that. But what I was trying to say to her is, like, once I got there, every single thing that I thought would not work out, God just placed it on my heart to help and work with people. Not only did he do that, I was able to help my mom to purchase her first home here in Columbus, Ohio. We're originally from New York. My background is also Jamaican. So there's a lot that she didn't know how to purchase a home in America, period. And I was able to help a lot of other people. So it was really my ministry in helping people and talking about God. I have a very big back office. And at first they tried to get me out of it because it was the biggest office in the branch. And for some reason I was out and then I was back in. Don't know how I got back there, but they would say, why is Morley laughing so loud back there with her customers and stuff like that? And we just have fun. And because of my placement in that branch, I was able to meet different people from all different walks of life and realize that a lot of people that goes to Oasis City Church, they're customers at my specific brand. So I've even met people that I didn't even know that goes here because this is a very big church. So it's been quite interesting journey for me that, you know, even though the money was not where it was, so many different doors have opened for me in many different ways. My bills are still being paid. Money's still in my bank account, and everything that I thought that would not work out, it works out because I was obedient.
Yep. And look
And
at,
now sitting here, walking in late and everything, Sherry actually is a member of our branch, and I wouldn't have known that if I wasn't sitting here right now. So it's just amazing.
small world. See, we really are all connected. If you just have a chance to talk to people, you'll realize how many things we have in common. And
It's with my group, like the way all of us talking to Vicky and LaVon, like she's got the message on her card, transforming lives through Christ. All of us and what we do, we help transform somebody's life. What she does, you know, at her home with the horses and the children, and then LaVon does poetry and everything, you know, those words transform lives. And then I work with the children, I teach them dance, I teach children and adult dance, and I'm also a professional seamstress. So I say, I'm here to make your dreams come true. And that's what we're all about here. And then I can slip in the word of God, you know what I'm saying? And that's what she does and what he does. And it's really amazing how God put, you know, us artistry people together, you know. I thank God for that. You just never know.
Yep, we just have to get together and be able to have that space to meet one another, to be able to connect with each other, build that relationship. So think about how many events you've been to in your life. And who do you remember from that event? You know, oftentimes we meet people, we go home, we have a stack of business cards or flyers, and that's it. But simply because I put you in an activity, I didn't train you, right? I didn't train you. I just gave you some guidelines of what to talk about. You took it from there. It's natural, right? I didn't provide any training for you to meet your new best friend. You just went with it. I just said, talk about personal, and you did. That was the only parameters. But you look at how natural it becomes to meet. But think of all the missed opportunities in our life to where we didn't do that. And people sitting right next to us at church, at a book club, at the sidelines of a kid's soccer game. Like how many times we missed opportunities to connect. And when we're thinking about growing business, oftentimes we think about engaging with strangers to sell them what we have to offer. When if we put that aside, we can actually connect with them and actually have more opportunities for business as they share us with other people that they know. So on the activities, we did your pipeline for your product or services. So for most of you said it was helpful, like just to be able to itemize it. If you need to work on it even after today, continue refining it and identify the exact steps. You might have more clarity later, maybe on the car ride home, and you're like, oh, this is actually what I do. This is my process. So I want you to itemize that process. What I'm going to do for you next is when you go to the other sheet of paper, so you're going to go to the relationship builder pipeline. All right, relationship builder pipeline for a virtual group. This one right here, relationship builder pipeline. And all of the steps are on the slide for you right now. So you can see all of those steps. So the first thing is prospect. So prospect, in this case, you're not selling them anything. So remember I said there's like a disconnect because we oftentimes think we're going to sell somebody and then we're worried about rejection, we're worried about what we're going to say, we got to say it perfectly. So in this case, when we say prospect, you're just identifying that person as somebody you want to get to know better. Isn't that a lot easier? They're not a prospect to sell them something. In fact, you can skip all the way to stage 9. You can see that there's no product sale in this pipeline. Most pipelines are designed to get a product sale. So the challenge of that is that you don't even want to put them in your product pipeline? And how do you know they belong in your product pipeline? How many of you have multiple things that you do for business? Or you have a business that has multiple offerings? And you wonder, what do I lead with? Do I lead with this service or this service? Do I talk about this opportunity or this opportunity? Do I talk about this? So you don't know. That's already a sign. The fact that you don't know what you should lead with, that's a sign that you didn't have a chance to get to know the person yet. That's like somebody trying to sell you a Corvette and you got a family of 5. Right? I can say everything to try to sell you that Corvette. It's a beautiful car, and I'm trying to talk you up the horsepower, your ratio, and the fuel economy is great for a car that can compete with supercar. It has nothing to do. It's not important to you. And I'm never going to sell you that Corvette because you shouldn't be in a Corvette. Right? It's the wrong vehicle for you. So what most people do is they're trying to sell that Corvette. They're trying to sell their products and services when all you need to do is find out, what do people need? Oh yeah, family of 5 and you have some grandkids, so you want a little bit more room just in case you pick them up too. You want a 7-seater, you want an 8-seater. See how if you just get to know people, you don't have to sell them the van. That's a hard sell for some people. Like, I'm not driving a minivan until they have 7 kids they got to pick up. That's a dream vehicle at that point. It's like, when can I get that minivan?
That was me.
Right? You love that minivan. I know we did when we got the minivan when we had the kids growing up. Never thought I'd like it, but I love that little mini because it was the right thing for us. So imagine if you just spent time getting to know people where they share what their needs are. And as you learn about what their needs are, you don't need to sell them anything. You just simply provide something that they need that would better. So I don't have to hard sell the minivan. If I find out they have that many kids, would you like a minivan? Let's get you all in here and see how you like it. You got enough leg room, you got room for the video games and your screens in the back, all kinds of stuff, right? So what the relationship builder pipeline helps you to do, this is a step that most people don't do because they want to push people into the Corvette. They want to push people directly in the minivan and not know who they are or why they should be in that vehicle. We're trying to push them into our product or our services or our coaching or whatever that is without finding out what their needs are. But why don't we find out what their needs are? Because they don't tell us. Like me asking you, what are your cards? Let me see your cards. You're not going to show me your cards. If you're a financial guy, tell me your finances. I can help you with your finances. No one's going to show you their finances because you haven't built trust yet. So what this gives you the opportunity is to build trust, to know what they need. And of course, it's a lot easier to do someone's financial planning. If you built trust, you know what they need. They trust you now. They're going to tell you what their challenges are and open up. So how do you get people to open up? You just did it. You all opened up to each other. And you can see it's not like some weird thing. You just connecting. You're just getting to know each other.
Yeah, you could even break us up.
Yeah, we can break you guys up. All right, so first thing is prospect. Next is connect on Facebook or LinkedIn. I start with LinkedIn primarily. If you don't have a LinkedIn account, create one. If you're growing a business, make sure you have your LinkedIn account set up. As I shared earlier, it's a great way to build credibility. For most people, if somebody looks up your name, most of the time your LinkedIn profile will show up even before your website. You know that? Your LinkedIn will oftentimes show up higher on the search engine than your website when you look up your name. And again, the example I shared earlier, that if I meet somebody, I didn't get a chance to share what I do, or maybe they don't remember if I did share, we connect on LinkedIn. They can read my LinkedIn profile, let that do the heavy lifting for me. Let that do the trust building for me. How do you build trust on LinkedIn? Reputation, the stuff that you post, the way you engage with others, the way you have it laid out to where it shares how you serve and add value to people, and they see that. That's your social proof. So connect with them there. Now, once you're connected with them on there, engage on social media. So you notice I didn't say like join and then send them a direct message, because that happens to all of you, right? You know that, right? They send you a direct message. As soon as they connect with you on LinkedIn, like, hey, just wanted to share my services. Here's my website. If you need anyone that needs this, or please watch this video for me if you can do me a favor. It's like, why would you do that when they haven't built trust? They haven't earned your time yet.
In fact, Chris,
yeah.
Joseph from Pittsburgh. In fact, my connection to Michaela was quite profitable. In fact, I was able to exchange information. We've already exchanged phone numbers to support some of the research that she's doing in Wisconsin and in education. And some of what she's doing, I have done here and in the Middle East in education. So that that was a move forward for us. Very fascinating and very trustworthy to exchange numbers. And I'm an engineer and an educator, and her husband is an engineer. So we started building that already. So thanks for that key input.
No, thanks for sharing that. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. All right, so connected, you exchange the contact information. So let's go to stage 3, engage on social media. So now you're connected with them. The next step is to engage with them. Now, guess what? There is not a single person that posts something and hopes that nobody engages with their post. Not a single person exists where they thought of something, no matter how intricate or simple, posted it and says, I hope no one engages on this. The only reason they posted it is for engagement, for views, for visibility, to share. So an easy way to get somebody's attention and to add value at the same time is engage with their post. How long does it take? 1 second. Click like, and then it says, LaRon liked your post. You show up on their timeline. You show up on their notifications, right? You do that, another post. You do that for a little bit just to build rapport. You could share comments, great point. Love your post. Awesome. Amazing picture. But just make sure it's authentic. But engage with them. So engage with them on social media. Now, after you engage with them on social media, then you send a private message. Not like the same day, right? But you're building rapport relationship. So you're going to go ahead and send a private message to them. The private message is still not your pitch. Here's my website. Chris said to engage. I engaged 3 times. Here's my website. You should look at it. No. So send a private message. Your private message can look something like this and make it your own. But in essence, it's something like, glad to be connected with you on here. I look forward to knowing you better. Right? Glad to be connected here on LinkedIn. Enjoying your content. Look forward to knowing you better. Something simple like that. Make whatever it sounds good and authentic to you. Basically, just saying, I want to get to know you better, right? And then you could even add, if you're ever open to a call, I look forward to meeting you sometime. Let me know and I can send my calendar link. Or if you have a calendar, let me know if you're open to a call just to get to know you. Now, here's an advantage that you have as a networker. If you're just selling something, financial planner, realtor, whatever it is, selling hats, and I introduce myself as that's why I'm reaching out to them, there's a lesser chance that they'll want to actually respond to me. Because they don't want to buy that. They don't want to buy my hat. They don't want to buy my property. They don't want to buy, my financial planning services or my coaching services. That's not why they joined LinkedIn. Why did they join LinkedIn? Because they wanted visibility and exposure for what they do. Why do you go to a networking event? Get visibility and exposure for what you do. So if everyone comes for that reason, you have that awareness. Everyone came here because they have something they want to share. So if you meet with somebody and you ask them to share, you notice how much easier it is for you and for them. They love that. They love it. They love being able to share about what they do. So same online, send a private message. The private messages get to know them better. You want to learn more about what they do. Now, the advantage as a networker is you can say, I do a lot of networking and I love to connect people whenever I can. Do you see how if somebody said that to you, aren't you more likely to respond to that? Because they had love to learn more about your nonprofit and how the horses works with everything and just like to learn more. I network a lot just to see if I can make connections for you. So you're more likely to respond to that one than, hey, I'm a realtor if you ever need to buy or sell a property, because it doesn't even fit, right? Like selling, I have a Corvette for sale. I just want to see if you want to buy a Corvette. And then even if I ask for a referral at that point, anyone who wants to buy it? He's not going to share that with me. He doesn't like me, right? So that's the thing is that you don't have to worry about all that stuff. It takes all the pressure off. So send a private message to get to know them. Your goal in the private message is to get a one-to-one. You are all in one-to-ones right now, for the most part. Some of you in a group of 3, but it's pretty much like a little one-to-one. So imagine you wanted to continue the conversation. That's what you do in the one-to-one. The initial meeting is a spark, but you got to keep it going. So you need to have a one-to-one. It could be a 15-minute Zoom call. Everyone can do it, even if you have a busy schedule. Create an electronic calendar, set the times available for you, make it available for whatever time works for you. You could take 4 15-minute calls. And guess what happens on those 15-minute calls? You're like, man, that wasn't enough time. We need to schedule half an hour, get coffee or lunch or something. Is that okay? Yeah, it's okay. It's actually better. So you can start with 15-minute calls. Don't start with an hour call. That's like too long. You're busy. 15 minutes. That's all you need to start it. If you need more time, it's better. Because don't you want to connect again because I broke you broke you guys up from talking?
How dare you?
All right, so you schedule your one-to-one. Now you're in your one-to-one. You're discovering their needs. What's next for you? What are your goals? Where are you going with your business? What are some challenges you have? Who are some people you're looking to meet? Make it authentic. I'm not going to give you a formula or script because then it'll feel robotic. Ask a natural question. You all had great conversations without me teaching you how to have a conversation. I just gave you parameters. I'm giving you parameters. Determine what their needs are. Do they need the minivan or do they want the Corvette? Because they're empty nesters and they finally got out of the minivan and they want the Corvette. See, that's not a hard sale. When the kids are gone and that's not a hard sale at all. They've been dreaming, probably it's on the person's screen for a long time. So determine their needs. Now you determine their needs. We already talked about it here, right? You talked about connecting people as you find out. That's adding value to them. You already added value to them and engaging on their social posts. How many people shared your social media posts? Nobody, right? Rarely somebody will share it, but for the most part, nobody shares your posts. So if somebody shares it, don't they pop up on your radar? It's not hard when you know what you're doing. It's not hard. You're adding value to them. You're not trying to get their attention. Hey, look at my post. Share my post. I don't tell people share my post. No, share their post. And when they see yours, they naturally reciprocate in most cases and see yours. If it's of value, they share it. So add value to people. Make those introductions. So you notice it's not selling your product. This is a product pipeline. This is a relationship building pipeline. That's something that everyone is missing in their journey of growing business. They understand the concept, but they don't understand how to do it. I'm showing you how to do it. So add value to them. It might be a referral for their business. It might be a potential referral partner for them, not a customer, but maybe somebody who could refer them business. It might be a group like Noble. It might be an organization or a group like Connected. It could be a nonprofit organization. It could be the Chamber of Commerce. It could be a referral group. That's all adding value. And as a networker, you have a lot of resources. Like right now, you have a lot of resources. I'm not saying like eventually you'll have a lot of, no, you have a lot of resources right now. You just haven't been utilizing them. So share those resources, add value to them. Now that you've added value to them, let's say you made it all the way through here and they didn't ask you about what you do. You're like, damn, they didn't ask me what I do. How am I gonna make sales? They never asked me this stuff. So that's the worst case. In most cases, they probably do ask you, you probably shared it and they probably listened, right? In most cases. But the rare chance that worst case scenario, they never asked you about what you do, don't worry about it because you've already built value. So let's just say I'm the realtor, right? The person that nobody wanted to meet because they already know other realtors. And if I build a relationship with somebody, gets to know them, say, when you have about 15 minutes, I'm looking to reach a specific audience of new first-time home buyers, especially right now, it's kind of hard to get into a first time for people to buy their home for the first time. So I just want to share what I do. See how you're more likely to say yes to a little 15-minute meeting to share what I do because I'm not selling you on my services. I'm just sharing what I do. And because of the relationship build, that's what opens up the possibility of that happening. And most people never do that. They just want to pitch. That's why it's no fun. Just pitch it. So now that you added value to them, you could get the presentation if you need to, or you can move into a product pipeline. Now, after you find out that they have 5 kids and maybe a couple of grandkids on the way or whatever, so they have a large family, you can move them to the product pipeline for the minivan, right? You found out somebody is retired, they're empty nesters, they want to travel the world in speed, the Corvette is now the solution for them. So I don't put them into, let's say I'm an auto dealership, I don't put them into the product pipeline for a Corvette unless I know there would be a prospect for that. So now you flip the page over to your product pipeline, you know that they belong in your product pipeline because you got to know them. So think of the chances of you closing on that sale on a Corvette or a minivan is because you know who they are and what they need. Not a lot of sales involved anymore, is there? And so each and every one of them, you don't have to sell your stuff that hard. You provide value, add solutions. So that's what this creates. So now you move them to the product pipeline. But let's say, worst case scenario, they don't belong in a product pipeline. They don't need a car, they don't need a Corvette, they don't need a minivan. They're happy where they're at. There's no car that you could sell them. They don't need it. Well, guess what? You put them in the stay in touch category. Stage 9, stay in touch. But by the time they're in stay in touch, these are all people that you've invested your time in. These are all people that you can reach out to. They'll answer your phone call. They'll respond to your text messages, respond to your email compared to what you have now where people ghost you. because they don't want to hear your pitch, or they don't know how to tell you no politely. And it ruins friendships, it ruins relationships. Not in like a really bad way, but just like imagine if you ghosted somebody and then you see them walk in the door at this event, you know, you owe them 5 messages, so they've been calling you, leaving you voicemails. It's kind of awkward, isn't it? So it's not building relationships, it's causing a rift. But if we do this, we added value and we put them in a stay in touch. We see each other across the room, we run and give each other a hug. We go like, hey, you know, it's good to see you again. And it's genuine. But when you stay in touch with people, now you can continue to add value and service to them. If they ever have any need, you can connect them to your other resources. And there's a good chance that they will also stay in touch with you for the services and products and goods that you offer for anyone that they run across. So you model this the same way with the cards. If I don't show my cards first, no one's showing me their cards. So you have to be the catalyst. You're the one that's starting this whole thing in motion. So all of this is on your paper. That's okay. So that's good. So what we did with the software is just made that digital. So I'm going to walk you through how to do that, and we'll wrap up this event. And I'll open up to questions. If you got to go, you can go, but I'll stay after for any questions for whether it's virtual or here in person. So we created these stages for you so you can move people through from stage to stage, just like you have on the paper. But wouldn't it be awesome if it's just all computerized and you only do it one time and you don't have to keep rewriting notes and trying to find out where you find them. So you can deepen your connections. You can set follow-up reminders to be able to, let's say every 3 months, you reach out. And instead of saying, hey, I just want to sell you my product right now. No, you don't do that. You just say, hey, it's been a while since we talked. Let's catch up soon. What's new? Right? And you mean it. So what if you just send them a message like that? You stay top of mind for your services and you don't have to try to pitch them. They'll respond to that and help you get results. So the relationship builder pipeline, we created it in the connected toolkit. It's just one of the services on there. So it has a full CRM. So all of your contacts are in one spot, name, all their contact information, any website. So if you build your website in here, anything, any page they visit, you'll know what they visited, you know what they clicked on, you know what they responded to, any quizzes or questionnaires or forums. So all of their information is in one place, where you met them, all that stuff. So if you're forgetting that currently with people you meet, this is a great way to stay organized, stay in touch. The pipeline looks like this. So just like on your piece of paper, where you can have a prospect, but imagine if you have like a dozen. What if you have 2 dozen? What if you have 100 people here as a prospect on this relationship builder pipeline? So everyone here, if you're just meeting the first time, they should go into your relationship builder pipeline. You're not selling them anything. So you don't have to worry about any anxiety over, you know, how do you pitch them. You're just getting to know the person to see how you can be of value. But if you don't do it here, you're probably not going to do it in the next group, and you're not going to do it in the next group, and you probably never do it. That's why I say online and here in person, we'll do this. So first is prospect. Those are all the steps. So you see connected on LinkedIn and Facebook is the next stage. So what happens is that you have this person, Deborah. So she moves from prospect, and boom, we just click on it, drag her over to connected on LinkedIn. So once we're connected with Deborah on LinkedIn, we know the next step is what? Engage with them on LinkedIn or Facebook. So all the steps that we need to do is right there in front of us. Did we send her? Now we sent her a private message. We scheduled a one-to-one. We determined Deborah's needs. We added value to her, made some introductions for her. Then maybe we move her into a pipeline. Maybe she can become a donor for your nonprofit. Maybe she can become a volunteer. Maybe she has connections with, venues that'll hire somebody as a poet. And if not, we put Deborah to stay in touch. So everyone over time, you have dozens, if not hundreds of people, maybe even thousands at some point of this stay in touch column. These are all people that you've already invested time in and built the relationship with them. So let's say you have a new product. You have a campaign, you have an offering, you have a big donation request for a new project or something. These are people that you can reach out to, that you've built relationships with. You already have some of these, but you don't know who they are. You haven't kept track of them. But you see them here, you know you've invested time in them, you've added value to them. They're going to respond to your requests. They will give you the time. So that's this stay in touch. So that's what the pipeline does. It does everything. Basically, it's an all-in-one software, all the things that we recognize that people need to grow their business. Everything from their website, landing pages, automations, so that whether you have a team or not, if you don't have a team, you could do it yourself. If you do have a team, they can now move people down this pipeline for you. So let's say you meet people, they be the one, like if you have a virtual assistant or a team, can they be the one to connect with them on social media? Yeah, they can. Can they be the one to send a message out if you're too busy? Yeah, so you see how it helps you to scale by creating a system. And guess what? If you say, Chris, my networking is not working. I've been networking for 3 months. And I can just go back to your pipeline and say, okay, let's see how you're doing. How many prospects do you have? How many people have you followed through on? So you have 20 prospects. How many of you have you reached out on LinkedIn? Well, I haven't had a chance to yet. Okay, see how we now know exactly what step we need to do to progress this. So it's not try harder. It's not make your shots. It's not stop turning the ball over. It's, okay, these 20 people, send them a connection request today. And then tomorrow, I want you to engage with them and just comment, like, see what they're posting. Then next day, I want you, do that for 2-3 days, maybe a week or two. Then when it feels right, send them see how we can now help you get those results to where, again, the challenge is creating more opening opportunities. Closing isn't happening because you're not even having enough opening opportunities, enough conversations where they know what you do and can share that with other people. All right, so the software, if you want that, you can just click on that. It'll give you all the information. You can do that at home or here. You have it all on your sheets. The price of software usually is like several $100s when you add up all the different things that it does. So for us personally in our company, we're spending right around $700 for all the different softwares that we're using. It's all built into this one software for $99. So $99, that's your website. There's no extra hosting. It's just your website. It's all your CRM pipeline, all that stuff you see on your invoicing, everything you need to grow your business, the digital pipeline. So that's our offer for you. We'll offer the pipeline. If you want the software, we'll import that relationship builder pipeline for you so that it's already built into your pipelines. That's your first one. We'll help you build your personal one, the one for your business, the one that you created today. So that way you have a digital version of the steps that you take people through so you can start getting more results through that. Because I want to help you get results from your network. I don't want to just network. I want you to network and make friends and build relationships, but I don't want to just do that. I want to help you get results too, because that's what makes it sustainable. If you do all that stuff, you don't get results, you're not going to keep doing it. And if you don't keep doing it, it affects the whole community because you're disconnected from the body. So we need to bring more people in. So that's why the toolkit is a way we can support. It's consistent. We got 24/7 access to, for those that are tech challenged, like, oh, I'm intimidated, we can get it set up for you. And we also have 24/7 chat, Zoom support. So not just chat support, but you can actually get on a Zoom and somebody help you 24/7 with that, with a phone call or an email. So any way that you need help, we have access for you there. So the software, $99 for that. We'll import we'll import the relationship builder pipeline for you. We'll help you import any contacts that you already have, and we'll provide a private onboarding session for you. So a one-to-one onboarding with you to help you guys get your business started. Other companies, I've seen them charge anywhere from $150 to $250 to do a private onboarding on top of the software cost. We're going to do that for you guys for free because we don't want to just sell a software. We want you to use it. We want you to build community with it because that's what helps all of us out. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm here.